In the year 2473, far beyond the edge of known space, something strange appeared. The stars in that part of the galaxy were old and quiet. No ships traveled there. No colonies lived there. It was empty, just dust, silence, and the slow turning of distant suns. The Galactic Concordance, a union of 12 spacefaring civilizations, had mapped almost every corner of the Milky Way, but this region near the outer rim of the Perseus Arm was marked as Unsurveyed Zone 47. No one had ever seen a reason to go there until the signal came. It was not loud. It did not scream across the comms like a distress call. Instead, it pulsed, steady, clean, and sharp, like a heartbeat made of light and math. The Deep Space Listening Post Echo 9, floating near a dead star, picked it up first. The signal repeated every 11.3 seconds. Inside it were patterns, prime numbers, atomic weights, the shape of hydrogen atoms. It was clearly made by intelligence, but whose? The Concordance had no record of any species in that sector. Their databases held every known language, every ship signature, every energy pattern from the last 3,000 years. This was new. Totally new. Within hours, the nearest patrol vessel was ordered to investigate. It was the Whisper of Dawn, a sleek Xenthar observation ship. Its commander was Valen, a calm and careful officer with silver eyes and skin like polished stone. He had served the Concordance for over 40 cycles, and had never once seen anything like this. As the Whisper of Dawn dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the crew held their breath. Space around them was dark and still. Then on the main screen they saw it. Floating near a small gray moon was a ship. It was not beautiful like Xenthar vessels, which curved like shells and glowed with soft blue light. It was not elegant like the Lumini cruisers, all glass and grace. This ship was hard-edged, sharp, and covered in dark metal. It looked like a blade forged in shadow. Towers rose from its back like spines. Strange panels lined its sides, some glowing faintly red. At its front, 2 long barrels pointed silently into the void, and on its hull, in bold, blocky letters, were words no one understood. U.S. Aegis, NCC 8147. What is it? Whispered Ensign Tira, the ship's young sensor officer. I don't know, Valen said. His voice was low. But it's not drifting. It's holding position. On purpose, he ordered a full scan. The results made no sense. The ship's hull was made of an alloy not in any Concordance database. Its power source gave off energy readings that flickered between known types, fusion, antimatter, something else entirely. And its shields. They didn't match any known frequency. They seemed to shift like living skin. Try hailing it, Valen said. The comms officer sent out a standard first contact message, in Galactic Standard, then in the 6 most common trade languages. They waited. 10 seconds, 30, a full minute, nothing, no reply. No movement. Just silence, then without warning, the strange ship turned, not slowly, not gently. It spun with sudden mechanical precision, bringing its front weapons to face the Whisper of Dawn. Red lights along its hull brightened. Energy built in its core, visible even through their scanners. Every officer on the bridge froze. Shields up. Valen barked. The Whisper of Dawn's shields flared to life just as a low hum filled the comms, a sound like thunder trapped in metal. But no shot came. The strange ship only watched, waiting. Valen's hands gripped the armrests of his chair. He had faced pirates, rogue AI, even ancient war machines left over from dead empires. But this felt different. This ship was not broken. It was not lost. It was alert. Like a soldier on guard. Back us off, he ordered. Slowly. Don't make any sudden moves. The Whisper of Dawn eased away, engines humming softly. The other ship did not follow. It simply held its position, silent and still once more. Back on Xylos Prime, the capital world of the Concordance, news of the encounter spread like fire through dry grass. Emergency alerts flashed across government networks. Scientists, generals, and diplomats dropped everything. A new species. Here, now. But the more they studied the data, the more confused they became. The ship showed no signs of life support waste. No heat blooms from crew quarters, no radio chatter. Yet it responded like it was alive. Like it knew they were watching. Some feared it was a trap. Others thought it might be a ghost ship, a relic from a long-dead race. But Valen wasn't so sure. When he reviewed the sensor logs later, he noticed something small but strange. Just before the ship turned, A single light on its bridge had flickered once, twice like someone blinking, as if to say, "I see you." The Concordance had faced many wonders in its long history, but this was different. This ship did not belong to any known civilization. It came from nowhere. It spoke no language, and yet it carried a name: humanity. No one in the galaxy had ever heard of them, and now they were here. The stars, once quiet, would never be the same. For days the strange ship just sat there. It did not move. It did not speak. It only watched. The whisper of dawn stayed at a safe distance, sending quiet pings and gentle signals, hoping for a reply. But the ship with the name Aegis gave nothing back. No voice, no light, no sign of life. Back on Xylos Prime, the capital of the Galactic Concordance, leaders argued in hushed, worried voices. 12 great species made up the Concordance, each with its own history, its own fears. Now they all faced the same question. Who are these humans? No records mentioned them. No old star maps showed their worlds. No traders had ever spoken their name. It was as if they had appeared from nowhere, like a dream or a warning. Still, the Concordance tried to be calm. They sent more ships, not warships, but peaceful ones. A Lumini science vessel, soft and glowing like a jellyfish in space, drifted closer. Its captain, a gentle being named Orla, believed in kindness first. She sent a message not in words, but in light, colors that meant hello, peace, and friend. The human ship did not answer. Then, a Zelekan cruiser arrived. The Zelikans were proud and strong. They did not like waiting. Their captain, Kor, thought silence was weakness. He ordered his ship to move in fast, to show strength. Big mistake. As the Zelikan ship passed in front of the Aegis, something changed. The human warship turned, smooth and fast like a hawk spotting prey. Its front weapons locked onto the Zelikan hull. Red lights flashed along its sides. A deep, low sound rolled through space, picked up by every ship's sensors. Kor's ship froze. No shot was fired. But everyone knew, one wrong move, and the Aegis would strike. Kor pulled back. His pride stung, but his ship safe. He sent a sharp report to Xylos Prime. This is not a lost traveler. This is a soldier. On the Aegis, Captain Elias Rourke stood alone on the bridge. He was tall, with tired eyes and a scar across his left eyebrow. His uniform was worn, patched in places. Behind him, screens showed the alien ships circling like curious birds. He watched them, silent. He had not come here to fight. But he would not be pushed. His ship was one of the last. Earth was gone, burned, broken. The Scourge, those faceless machines from the dark between stars, had taken everything. Billions dead, cities turned to ash, the oceans boiled away. Only a few ships escaped. The Aegis was one of them. Before Earth fell, the last message from command had been clear. Find others. Warn them. Don't trust the silence. So Rourke had flown for years through dead zones and empty space, following faint signals, hoping to find someone, anyone, who might listen. Now he had found them. But they did not understand. He looked at the alien ships on his screen. Beautiful, strange, peaceful. They had never known war like his people had. They had never seen their home world die. He wanted to speak. But how? Their languages were unknown. Their ways were foreign. And if he opened his comms, would they hear a warning or a threat? So he waited. Back on Xylos Prime, the debate grew louder. Some said the human ship was dangerous. It points weapons at us, said a Zelikan general. It hides its purpose. It must be removed. Others disagreed. It has not fired, said a Lumine elder. It only defends itself. That is not evil. That is caution. Valen, still aboard the Whisper of Dawn, watched the Aegis closely. He noticed small things. The way its engines pulsed in a slow rhythm like breathing. The way it turned slightly to face the sun each cycle, as if soaking in warmth. And once, late in the watch, he saw a tiny light blink on the bridge. Not a system light, but a personal one. Like a lamp turned on in a dark room. Someone was in there, alive, thinking. He sent a new message. Not in words, not in light, but in math. Simple numbers, counting from 1 to 10. Then a circle, then a triangle. The oldest language in the universe. Logic. This time something happened. The Aegis lights dimmed for 3 seconds. Then came a reply, not a voice but a data burst. Small, clean, safe. Balin opened it. Inside was a star map. One system was marked in red, Sol, third planet, Earth, and around it symbols of fire, of falling, of loss, no words. But the meaning was clear. We came from there. It is gone. The bridge of the Whisper of Dawn fell silent. Even the hum of the engines seemed to soften. Valen understood now. This was not an invader. This was a survivor, but not everyone would see it that way. On Xylos Prime, the Zelican general saw the same data, and saw only weakness. They are alone, he told the council. One ship. No fleet, no home. They are desperate. And desperate beings are dangerous. He began to plan. Captain Rourke, watching the alien ships shift positions, felt the change in the air. Something was coming. He checked his weapons, checked his shields, checked the last message from Earth, saved in his personal log. They're coming, the voice of his old commander said, weak but firm. Don't trust the silence. Rourke closed the file. He looked out at the stars. He had hoped to find friends, but maybe all he would find was more war, and if that was true, then he would fight. Not for conquest, but for warning, for truth, for the chance that someone somewhere might live because he spoke, even if they didn't understand him yet. Tension grew like a storm in space. The Zelican cruiser, Iron Fang, moved closer to the human ship. Captain Kor did not believe in waiting. He thought fear was the only language some beings understood. So he gave an order, fire a warning shot, a single energy bolt shot from the Iron Fang. It flew past the Aegis and close enough to shake its shields, but not close enough to hit. It was meant to say, move, obey, or else. What happened next stunned everyone. In less than 3 seconds, the Aegis reacted like a sleeping lion suddenly awake. Its hull lights flashed red. Strange pods popped open along its sides. A high-pitched whine filled the comms as its systems came alive. Then, without firing a single weapon, it did something no one expected. It jammed the Zelican ship's communications. Not just one channel, every channel. Kor shouted orders, but his crew could not hear him. Their screens went dark. Their weapons locked. Their engines stuttered. At the same time, targeting lasers from the Aegis painted 3 weak points on the Iron Fang, the engine core, the bridge shield node, and the main power relay. Any one of those hits would cripple the ship. Any two would destroy it. But the Aegis did not fire. Instead, a new signal came through, clean, strong, and clear. Not in galactic standard, not in math, in a voice. It was a child's voice. Soft, scared, but steady. The voice spoke in broken galactic standard, like someone who had practiced alone for a long time. We didn't come to fight, it said. We came to warn you. They're coming for you too. Then the signal changed. A video played on every nearby ship. It showed a blue-green planet, Earth, cities with tall buildings, oceans, green forests, then fire. Huge black ships in the sky, shapeless and terrible, dropping fire from above. People running, ships exploding in orbit. A final battle, human warships fighting with everything they had but falling one by one. The video ended with a close-up of a young girl, no more than 10 years old, standing in a ruined street. Her face was dirty. Her eyes were wide, but she looked straight into the camera. They took our home, she said. Now they're coming here, please. Listen. Silence followed. Even Captain Kor sat still, his anger gone, replaced by shock. On the Whisper of Dawn, Valen felt his chest tighten. He had seen war before, but never like this. Never so total, never so final. On Xylos Prime, the council chamber fell quiet. The Zelican general stood up, his face pale. That was real, he whispered. The video had no tricks, no lies. The pain in the girl's eyes was too real to fake. Captain Rourke, watching from the Aegis, knew this moment would decide everything. He had sent the message not to beg, but to show the truth. His people were gone, but maybe, just maybe, others could be saved. Slowly, the Zelican ship powered down its weapons. Kor opened a channel. This time, not with pride, but with shame. Human vessel like... I did not know. Rourke did not answer with words. He sent a new file. This one held star charts, battle logs, and sensor data from Earth's last days. It showed the enemy, the Scourge, machines without faces, ships that ate planets, a force that did not talk, did not trade, did not stop. The Concordance scientists studied the data. Their faces grew grim. The energy signatures matched nothing in their records. The tactics were brutal, efficient, and endless. If this enemy came here, the Concordance would not be ready. Valen contacted Rourke directly. "Why show us this?" he asked. Rourke's voice was quiet. "Because silence got my people killed. I won't let that happen to you." For the first time, the two captains spoke as equals, not as strangers, not as enemies, but as watchers in the dark. News of the video spread fast. Across the galaxy, people watched it. Some cried. Some refused to believe it. But most felt a cold fear in their hearts. The universe had always felt safe, ordered, known, shared. Now something unknown and hungry was coming. The Concordance called an emergency meeting. All 12 species gathered in the Great Hall of Xylos Prime. For the first time in centuries, they argued not about trade or borders, but about survival. Some still doubted. "How do we know this isn't a trick?" asked a delegate from the Mixian hive. "Maybe humans want us to fear, so we give them power." But Valen stood and spoke. "I have watched the Aegis for days. It never fired unless threatened. It showed us its pain, not its weapons. That is not the act of a liar. That is the act of someone who has lost everything and still tries to help." His words carried weight. Slowly, the fear turned to purpose. The Concordance agreed to open talks with the humans. Not as prisoners, not as spies, but as guests. A small shuttle was sent to the Aegis. Inside was Valen himself, holding a simple gift, a crystal that glowed with soft light, a Xanthar sign of trust. When the airlock opened, Captain Rourke stood waiting. He wore no armor, no weapon, just his old uniform and tired eyes. They looked at each other, two beings from different worlds, shaped by different stars. Then Rourke nodded. "Thank you for listening," Valen returned the nod. "Thank you for warning us." Outside, the stars burned as they always had. But now something had changed. The galaxy was no longer just a place of peace and trade. It was a place of danger and of hope. And for the first time, humans were not alone. After the video, everything changed. The Galactic Concordance no longer saw the human ship as a threat. Now they saw it as a warning and a wonder. Scientists, engineers, and diplomats asked for meetings. They wanted to learn. They wanted to understand. Captain Elias Rourke agreed, but carefully. He let small teams board the Aegis one at a time. They wore no weapons. They followed his rules. And they saw things that made their minds spin. Human technology was strange. Their engines burned hotter than any fusion core the Concordance knew. Their shields shifted like living skin, changing shape to block new kinds of attacks. Their computers did not just calculate, they seemed to think. One Luminae scientist watched a human AI reroute power during a test and whispered, "It's not a machine. It's a mind." But it wasn't just the machines that surprised them. Inside the Aegis, the walls were covered in small things. Photos of people, drawings of stars, lines of poetry scratched into metal. In the mess hall, someone had painted Earth's oceans on the ceiling. In the captain's quarters, a broken music box played a soft tune called Clair de Lune. The humans were not just soldiers. They were dreamers. Rourke explained that Earth had been more than cities and ships. It had music, stories, food, laughter. Even in war, they held on to those things. "You can lose your home," he said, "but you don't have to lose your soul." The Concordance listened. They shared their own stories too. A Xanthar elder spoke of singing to newborn stars. A Mixian artist showed how her people painted with light. Slowly, trust grew, but not everyone was happy. In the shadows of Xylos Prime, some leaders whispered doubts. "They are too strong," said a Zelican advisor. "Their weapons could turn on us." Others feared their emotions. "Humans feel too much," said a cold-eyed delegate from the Vorn Collective. "Grief, rage, hope. These are not stable traits in allies." Rourke heard the rumors. He knew peace was fragile, still he kept his word. He shared what he could, battle plans, scourge weaknesses, even old Earth songs. In return, the Concordance gave him fuel, parts, and data on nearby space. For the first time in years, the Aegis was not alone. Then came the day they asked the hardest question. "Where are the rest of your people?" Valen asked one evening, as they stood on the observation deck of the Aegis, watching a nebula bloom in purple and gold. Rourke looked down. "Scattered," he said. Some ships escaped Earth, others left before the end. We call them the Lost Fleets. We don't know if any survived. He showed Valen a star map with tiny dots, each one a possible human ship drifting in the dark. Most had gone silent years ago. But one signal, faint and far, still pulsed near the Orion Spur. "That's the Odyssey," Rourke said. "My sister's ship. If anyone's out there, it's her." Valen placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we will help you find her." But before they could search, new trouble came. A group of Zelican hardliners, angry at the growing trust in humans, tried to sabotage the talks. They sent a false alarm, a fake scourge signal near a nearby colony. Panic spread. Ships scrambled. For a moment, it looked like war might start by mistake. Rourke acted fast. He used the Aegis sensors to prove the signal was fake. Then he did something bold. He opened his ship's logs to everyone, every battle, every loss, every mistake. "See for yourself," he said. "We have nothing to hide." His honesty calmed the fear. After that, even the doubters began to listen. The concordance started to change because of the humans. They added new drills for surprise attacks. They built faster warning systems. They even began to study human ideas like mercy and second chances, concepts that felt strange to some but powerful to others. One night, a young Luminae engineer asked Rourke, "Why do you still hope? After all you've lost?" Rourke smiled, a small sad smile. "Because hope is the last thing you lose. And if you lose it, the enemy wins without firing a shot." The engineer remembered those words for the rest of her life. As weeks passed, the Aegis became a bridge between worlds. Human and alien crews worked side by side. They fixed engines, shared meals, even played games. A Zenthar officer learned to whistle a human tune. A human medic saved a Mixian child during a training accident. Small acts, big meaning. But Rourke never forgot his mission. He stood often on the bridge, staring at the stars, listening to the quiet hum of his ship. He thought of Earth, of his sister, of the billions who never got to say goodbye. He knew the scourge was still out there. Closer now, hungrier, and he knew the concordance was not ready, not really. But they were learning, and that was enough. For now. In the quiet of space, the Aegis no longer looked like a blade. It looked like a door, and behind it a new kind of future was beginning to grow. One built not on fear, but on shared pain, shared courage, and the simple, stubborn belief that even in the darkest sky, a single light can matter. The warning came on a cold morning in deep space. Outpost Theta 12, a tiny listening station near the Andromeda border, sent one message before it went silent. "Contact. Massive. Moving fast." Not ours. The signal matched the scourge. Panic spread through the concordance like fire. Ships scrambled. Planets locked down. Leaders shouted over comms, demanding plans, answers, safety. But no one had faced an enemy like this. No one knew how to fight something that did not talk, did not stop, did not feel, except the humans. Captain Elias Rourke stood on the bridge of the Aegis, his face hard but calm. He had waited for this moment, dreaded it, prepared for it. He opened a channel to the Concordance High Command. "I can help," he said. "But you must trust me." At first they hesitated. But Valen spoke up. Let him lead. So they did. The battle plan was born in a room filled with beings of 12 species. Rourke stood at the center, pointing at a star map. "The Scourge think in patterns," he said. "They predict. They calculate. They expect order." He tapped a gas giant named Viridian 9. "We give them chaos." His idea was simple and crazy. Human pilots would fly small, fast fighters in wild, unpredictable paths, dodging, spinning, diving, not like soldiers, but like dancers in a storm. The Concordance ships would follow, not in neat lines, but in shifting waves guided by human AI that learned the Scourge's moves in real time. Many thought it would fail, but they had no better plan. On the day of battle, the sky above Viridian 9 turned black with ships. The Scourge came like a wall of night, hundreds of faceless vessels, smooth and silent, swallowing light. They did not fire warnings. They just attacked. The first Concordance line broke fast. Shields failed. Ships exploded. Fear rose. Then the humans struck. From hidden points in the gas giant storm clouds, human fighters shot out, fast, sharp, fearless. They weaved between enemy beams, fired short bursts, then vanished again. They did not fight to win. They fought to confuse. Follow the red trail. Rourke's voice boomed over the comms. Every Concordance pilot saw it, a glowing path only their systems could read, drawn by the Aegis AI. They followed it like a lifeline. Zenthar cruisers fired where the humans pointed. Lumini ships cloaked and reappeared behind enemy lines. Even the proud Zelicons flew in strange loops, trusting the human plan. And it worked. The Scourge, used to orderly battles, could not predict the chaos. Their weapons missed. Their formations broke. For the first time they were losing, but the cost was high. A human fighter, piloted by a young woman named Chen, took a direct hit shielding a Mixian transport. Her last words were, "Tell my mom I saw the stars." The Aegis itself took heavy damage. Hull breaches, bars and 3 decks. But Rourke stayed on the bridge, shouting orders, patching systems, never backing down. In the end, the Scourge retreated, not because they were destroyed, but because they were confused. And confusion was a kind of victory. Silence returned to Viridian 9. Broken ships floated in the dark. Rescue teams moved fast. Grief hung heavy in the air, but something else was there too. Hope. Back on Xylos Prime, the Concordance held a ceremony. Not for war, but for unity. Captain Rourke stood before the Grand Council, his uniform torn, his face tired. Around him stood leaders from all 12 species. Even the Zelican general who once called him a threat now bowed his head in respect. Then Ambassador Valen stepped forward. He held a small crystal, clear with a single blue thread of light inside. It was the highest honor the Zenthar could give. "We came expecting monsters," Valen said, his voice strong and clear. "We found mourners and mentors." The council chamber was silent. Then one by one every leader stood, not to speak but to show respect. After the ceremony, Rourke walked alone through the gardens of Xylos Prime. Real trees. Real grass. Things he hadn't seen since Earth. He touched a leaf, soft and green, and for a moment he let himself feel peace. Later, a message came. Faint but real. From the Orion Spur, it was the Odyssey, his sister's ship. Still flying, he smiled. The galaxy was no longer speechless. It was speaking with many voices, many hearts, many hopes, and now humanity had a place in that song. They were no longer refugees, no longer ghosts. They were part of something bigger. The Scourge would come again. Everyone knew that. But next time the galaxy would be ready, not just with weapons, but with trust, with courage, and with friends. As stars burned above, Captain Rourke looked up and whispered, "We made it. Earth, we're still here." And in that moment, the whole galaxy felt a little less alone.